repost it, blast it off into orbit, blast it off into the smithereens, you know. This is real, by the way. This is actually real. Did Connery's pants hook you up? No, he didn't. Even though Gavin seemingly loves Connery's pants. Like, that's not even a joke. Gavin has a very soft spot for Connor. Oh my God, this is on Forbes? Oh my God. Oh my God, this made it into like actual breaking news. What the heliante? Oh, Gav, this is a real like enemies to lovers situation between me and Gav. We're gonna fuck. Bruh. Actually, like, we're just, you know, we're gonna tear the house down, dude. It's crazy. That's the Reddit atheist contingency you're describing. Yeah. So anyway, yesterday, Gav, that's what I call him now because we're besties and I like everything he's ever done and I will never criticize anything he'll ever say. Sexy ass Gavin, gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom of California Oblast is doing a interview in New Hampshire with Jack Cocherella. He's great. He's a great content creator. He's like one of these like left adjacent, more progressive. He's not. I don't think he's like a communist by any means, but like he is pretty chill. Like as far as everything I've seen, he's not like one of those guys that's like I love Israel. He's not, right? And he gets yelled at a lot as well because Gavin Newsom went on his show and did this whole thing with him in New Hampshire, and Jewish Insider was like losing their minds over it. They were like, "How dare you, Gavin Newsom? You went on the show of a guy who has said fuck Israel." Now, Jack is also part of Midas Media Group, which you know I'm fond of. So. Anyway, let's watch what Gav had to say about potentially coming on. I had texted him. Shout out to everyone involved in this. I've had it, ladies. Ms. Welch specifically connected me with Jack, and Jack was like, "I'll ask him." So what on stage, he just straight up says it.
And like I said, I want to do a little bit more future given where we are and kind of a lot of what's been going on. But I wanted to get back into what you had to say about kind of, not in the spirit of that question, but, you know, reading the room when it comes to or understanding what makes, and we've had conversations about a guy like Steve Bannon, right? And Steve Bannon kind of helped build Donald Trump, his facade. Again, these things are lies. Yeah. But what in this moment, when you see so much of the right turning on itself, do you think, and it is, you know, Trump was going after Tucker Carlson, he's going after Megyn Kelly. Well, what do you think when you sit down and have a conversation with someone like Ben Shapiro? Like, what was your takeaway from that in terms of what do we need to be talking about? What do we need to be saying? Certainly not on the policy, but on the framing and in the reaching people and the organizing. I kind of want to get back to that. Like, as you look into the future, what has been your takeaway of a conversation with Steve Bannon, a conversation with Charlie Kirk, a conversation with Ben Shapiro?
Guys, you can't get mad at him for having a long and convoluted question when I'm your favorite content creator. Okay? This is literally the HasanAbi method. Okay? Yes, he went all around the world to basically ask the fucking question, what's going on in your head when you talk to Ben Shapiro? Why do you do that? Okay? I do the same exact thing. It's fucking annoying. It sucks. I know it's not the best to watch from afar. But don't yell at him over this. This is he's green, just like I am. I'm not a very good interviewer, okay? It's a horrible trait that I have where I want to get in everything I possibly can before asking that question. And I think part of that comes from over-explaining everything because I have so many fucking clippers. There's so many goddamn clippers. That's what it is. So it just like has broken my brain. I need to like over-explain everything. Anyway, let's continue.
And the guy who tried to recall me, Newt Gingrich. Frank Luntz, you know, I'm talking about framing and messaging. Those are not the only guests I have on this show, quite the contrary.
Never asked me on the show, Gav. I mean, it's fine though. It's fine though because we're good now. We're besties now. We're kissing.
And by the way, I say this to folks all the time. No one has to tune in. You know, I'm just trying to, I sincerely am trying to understand motivation. I'm trying to understand what we're actually up against. You know, I've always believed, and a big part of this book, I'm a small business guy, started right out of college, pen to paper, a part-time employee, Pat Kelly, and I grew the business, about 21 small businesses, about 1,000 employees. I say that.
What is this? You over-explain everything no matter what the subject, even when it's like technical stuff like cameras and the other person has no idea what you're talking about? Really? Do I do that?
To not impress any of you, but to impress upon you this notion, my passion for entrepreneurship.
Do you think he was serious? He sounded very unserious about coming on. We shall see. Oh my God. Oh my God. Iran hit an American Patriot missile site in the UAE. No injuries reported. Photos provided by a source. That's really funny. Ryan, photos provided by a source. Thanks, Ryan. I call that a blammo. That's not good. That's the question I have is, are we winning? Is that what's going? Because everyone keeps telling me on the American side, the Amerifats keep telling me, oh, it's great. Things are going great. But then I see stuff like this and I'm like, blammo. Doesn't seem like things are going as great as the Amerifats are representing it. So I don't, there's a little bit awkwardness. Yeah, I mean, the only people that are winning in this process are obviously the fucking defense contractors. Let's be real. They are the ones who are looking at this and going, that's economic activity, baby. That's units. That's inventory that just got burned. Okay, that's inventory that just got burned. We got to replenish those stocks, baby. So anyway, let's get back to Big Gav for now, and then we'll talk about monitoring the situation in a second. I'm just going to hurry this up and skip to the part where he came out and said that he was willing to talk to your boy, right? So Jack is having a conversation about talking to people in a broader coalition in the Democratic Party, and he basically asked him this question dead on.
TwitchCon. I'm meeting with gamers and streamers. I'm doing Fortnite Fridays.
Would you go on Hasan?
He loves Connor, by the way. It's kind of crazy. He loves Connor. He goes Fortnite Fridays. Ha!
Would you go on Hasan's show, Twitch? Speaking of which, Hasan Pike, you might.
Yeah, which I've said in the past. And the point is, I'm just.
So Jack sends me, before he sends me this clip, he just says like, oh, I asked him, right? And that's it. That's the whole thing. And the problem here is when Jack asked him, I thought he asked him in private after they were done. I didn't realize he put him on the spot on the stage. And I certainly didn't realize that his response was, yeah. So he got a little bit baited. But now the media is picking it up and the media is talking about it as well, which is fine. I mean, this is like I don't know why he is running away from having a conversation with someone like myself. Like, you have to talk to your left flank, bro. That's crazy. Like, that's crazy. Okay. It's wild. Like, I am the largest leftist content creator in North America, man. What are we doing? Like we can't, as the Democratic Party, we can't be like, what happened to Kamala Harris? Oh, she didn't go on the Joe Rogan of the left, or she didn't go on Joe Rogan. Do we need a Joe Rogan of the left? Oh, who's the Joe Rogan of the left for like a year plus? And then he's like, yeah, like that's his answer. Like it's crazy. You have to play a game with him and he'll come. Sure. That's Adam Friedland. You got your chain snatch, little bro. I think Adam Friedland and I occupy very different lanes. Okay. Like, Adam is great. Obviously he's doing a fantastic job. But it's, we have very different roles to play. Everyone has a role to play. You all have a role to play. Adam and I are playing a very different ball game, which is precisely the reason why he has no issues going on Adam Friedland and still seemingly can't get himself to talk to someone like myself. But I think like, but yeah, we'll see where this goes. I think he will get a lot of press off of this though. Like this will be a major press event. That's the thing. He will get good press off of this. And if he preps well enough, he can either destroy me, left flank destroyed style, or we can have a lot of areas of agreement and some significant disagreements. But like ultimately, I think what matters is like having a conversation. Like you got to have that conversation, right? But in any case, from this point onward, a lot of the liberals saw this, right, and they lost their dang minds, right? They lost their dang minds, and they've been losing their dang minds, and they haven't stopped losing their dang minds. I wonder when they will stop losing their dang minds. And what I mean by this is, a lot of the the national liberal member of MKE. I mean, this guy's a Republican, but like liberals on the centrist side and Republicans have been losing their fucking minds on this. Why is Gavin Newsom going on a live stream of an individual who vocally supports the Ayatollah and said the United States deserved 9/11? This is the equivalent of a Republican going on the Nick Fuentes show. Liberals are perfectly fine when Gavin Newsom platforms open fascists, but interviewing Hassan Piker is a step too far. Now, what's hilarious about this is like, they don't have an issue with like, Jeffrey Epstein's affiliate, Steve Bannon, talking to Gavin Newsom, but even the right-wingers are fucking terrified of Gavin Newsom and myself having a conversation. And the right-wingers who are literally GOP operatives like this fucking dipshit are doing a handshake with a lot of the centrist liberals who are also very offended at this prospect. And it's really interesting. Now, some might say this is Hassan derangement syndrome, and for some it really is, right? For some, it truly is. But for guys like A.G. Hamilton, again, another like centrist, center-right, right-wing figure, they're primarily focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's Israel, right? Because I need you guys to understand, there are people like Jose and all these other guys who are like Democratic Party champions, and they'll like ride for whoever. They hate me personally. They have Hassan derangement syndrome. But for many others on the right, the reason why they're very much against this is because they think Gavin Newsom is platforming me if he comes on my stream, right, and offering me legitimacy, not realizing that I've had people that have a higher significance in American politics than Gavin Newsom on with regular frequency, including last week, right? Like including a couple of weeks ago with Bernie Sanders. So these guys don't realize that it's not actually Gavin Newsom platforming me. It's the fucking other way around, right? So that's number one. Number two, they just cannot stand that like Israel has fallen off the map in terms of its approvals, right? They can't stand it. And instead of trying to understand why that's happening, and this is part of the reason why a lot of people don't fuck with Israel, it's just like the sheer arrogance, the endless amounts of the endless demands that people make. The endless demands that people make, the Israeli government makes from the American taxpayer, and the consistent, arrogant, entitled ways in which they say you have to shut the fuck up about this, and the permanent victimhood complex. It's frustrating for a lot of everyday Americans who probably would have turned a blind eye to the atrocities, right? If it wasn't for the fact that there's so much domestic interference that starts pissing people off. You cannot say you're going to give me, billions of dollars, and then you're going to shut the fuck up about it, and I'm going to demand that the American government silence you over and over again, and then not expect Americans to go, yeah, actually, I don't like that at all. And what's interesting is A.G. Hamilton also says this is the equivalent of a Republican candidate doing a stream with candidates over Nick Fuentes. Democrats can't lecture the right about their issues when they have zero standards for their own side. This kind of stuff is so silly because Gavin Newsom has literally spoken to Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, and Steve fucking Bannon. But of course, those guys are establishment and pro-Israel enough not to be a real problem for the likes of this dipshit, right? And he's also very much anti-Zoran as well. AG is very anti-Zoran as well. So the people that I'm showing you, the people that I'm showing you basically are those who actually work directly in the Israeli orbit, like directly work in the Hasbara machine. Those are the guys who are doing the classic, this hurts your cause, except these are the guys who are not on board with the cause, who despise the cause, right? So these are right-wingers. But then there are some who are actually liberals. And I'm going to show you the liberal version of this as well, which is ironically identical, right, to the right-wingers. This is a Hassan derangement syndrome guy. Crazy that Gavin Newsom would cave to Hassan Piker. Yeah, the same guy who said he'd vote third party if Gavin was the nominee. What are we doing here? Well, that's precisely the reason why Gavin Newsom should come on the stream, don't you think? To convince someone like myself and my audience to actually vote for him, to try to identify what the rooms of disagreement are, what the areas of disagreement are, what the areas of improvement are. Maybe he convinces me that he has a much better alternative, a much better vision, right? And it's so strange because these are also the same guys that constantly say you got to moderate and pivot to the fucking middle to win voters that will never vote for the Democratic Party, the Republicans, the independent centrists that are really looking for a diet version of the same fascism that Republicans offer. And it's very interesting to see that from Democrats, right? Because the Republicans are always going to go like, these guys are anti-Semitic. These guys are anti-Semitic. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them, fuck them. Why are you talking to these anti-Semites? You're a fucking asshole, whatever. Jose has retweeted every Hassan hate post in the last 24 hours. Yeah, he's mentally ill. He's a mentally ill person. You have to understand. Like, he truly, right? Squirrel was right about you, Lamau. Yes. Speaking of mentally ill people, I love when people also do this thing as well. Like every part of the political spectrum in the United States of America, perhaps in the entire planet, is mad at this, right? You have those who are to my left or who believe that they're to my left, thinking that I'm like betraying the anti-Zionist cause. Those who are to my right think that I am a spoiler for the Democratic Party and I want to destroy it. And no one should talk to me. Why do people listen to what I have to say? Those to the far right say I'm a terrorist that wants to destroy America, that want to do a 9/11 every other week. Everyone's got a piece, right? I do think that the reason for why people get so fucking mad is because I am not only considered a radical, understandably, by many who participate in like the neat little confine of American politics, because I am further to the left in that, totally outside of the confines of what is permissible speech in neoliberalism. But also at the same time, I'm a very pragmatic person and have a very... Seen accounts calling you HasanAbi, not even joking. Yeah, it's awesome. I don't care. I don't think you will be able to convince a single normal person that I am in any way, shape, or form a supporter of the state of Israel. So that's not going to happen, right? Those guys can fucking chirp into the wind. I'm not going to make a big show of like how normal I am in comparison to those fucking people, right? Because I think that's still unnecessary left bashing, and their position is like utterly irrelevant anyway, right? It's like when I call Zoran Musadani as a joke. I am to your left and I don't give a shit. Normal people don't care who you interview, only if you start grifting and changing your views. Yeah. Saying like when someone says I'm a Zionist or I'm doing the bidding of Zionists or whatever, that's when you know, like, okay, you're talking to like a deeply mentally ill person. Because as far as like having mainstream potential, I don't think anyone has, with the exception of like Norm Finkelstein, obviously, who is an academic and occupies a very different lane than I do. There aren't that many people that go to mainstream news with regular frequency who have also openly explained the emancipatory needs of the Palestinian people and why the Palestinian resistance exists. And not even just the Palestinian resistance, but Hezbollah as well, Ansar Allah as well, and how these militancies form, and how the American understanding of how these guys are barbaric terrorists is just utterly incorrect. You literally don't have that. That's not a thing that people do with regular frequency, while also enjoying being, enjoying a broader approval from mainstream outlets. But of course, it's funny to be in this very unique space where I piss off everyone that is pro-Israel, from liberal Zionists to obviously ultra Zionists, and then I piss off people who are anti-Zionist sometimes, but very marginally, because they're offended because they think I'm secretly doing the bidding of Israel. It's fine. You know what's driving me crazy is I can protest to fight back because I know there's not freedom of speech in Jordan, and the regime in Jordan will freak out. Yeah, I know. You're as good as it gets. My family doesn't like you, but I still watch you. Don't worry. Thank you, Nico Thomas. In any case, I think it's also silly to constantly talk about how I piss all these people off. Who gives a fuck, right? Anyway, Piker Broadcasting Service rides for all people all around the world, all of the dispossessed masses. We will always ride for them. It is the most just need. The emancipatory need is the most human need, okay? And we will always ride for people who are victims to colonial occupation, to imperialism. We will always ride for those who demand that freedom, okay? We will always ride for justice. So, it's pretty funny, though, because this story is not just about me. It's about Ziauran Massadani as well, AOCIA, and also now gruesome Governor Gavin Newsom, who I haven't been able to figure out a funny name for, because Gavin Newsom also had a little oopsie moment where he said something along the lines of, the academic and human rights consensus that Israel is an apartheid.